My day now, or will we go round again?
We'll come to your day in a second. No worries.
Excellent. I'm playing Asha.
Wonderful.
Oh, who's next, John?
Yeah, we said take it in turns, starting with Rowan, and then just the rest of us.
Yeah.
It's all me.
God.
It's just me.
Everyone after Rowan.
So, Amelia, you go next.
I'm Amelia. I'm playing Pop, short for Pop Pipperit.
Great. And with you, Guy?
Hello, my name is Guy, and I'm playing as Eel.
And finally, to Adam, mainly known as Sibs.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sibs, and I am playing Toshek.
So those are our players, guys, and thank you so much for joining us. So today we're going to be playing a module which was initially thought of as being a one-shot. I started playing it with some friends, found that it's actually a little bit more than a one-shot, usually goes to two. Although with these players, we have no idea. Maybe it's going to go to 3 or 4. We, obviously on the channel, you guys may have tuned in the past. They've been running an amazing campaign called Waterdeep Mall Rats, which runs on Mondays from 4 until 7 with Joe Thorpe as your DM. He is here in the background, so if any of you guys are on the chat, you can reach out to him and to us at any point during the game. So yeah, we're going to be running this one shot. I should mention, and a big shout out to the writers, who are Jeff C. Stevens and Remley Farr. They wrote Jack's Funhouse, and it's amazing. I'm also looking at the moment at Tasha's Kiss, which they also wrote. All of these modules are available on DM's Guild if you ever want to pick them up and play them with your friends. Cool. So let's go with the same order that we just had. And guys, can I ask you to introduce your characters? So with you, Rowan.
So Asha is a Dragonborn barbarian. She was raised in a Dragonborn clan in the Outlands, and as her barbarian skills developed, she became increasingly unable to control them and actually came to really dislike the way that she was when she was in those rages. Eventually, this culminated in her being asked to leave her clan. Following that, she spent several years wandering the Outlands, meditating, reading, learning, until she stumbled across a village and just loved it. The civilization, the people, the whole shebang. She's super keen. She's very enthusiastic, very polite and pleasant until she isn't anymore.
So we're expecting some rage, some deep seat rage coming from this.
Well, hopefully not. I mean...
I love that the introduction sounded like a threat.
Never. She's lovely. Oh, she's 6'6" and 260 pounds. She's a big lady.
Perfect. With yourself, Amelia.
So Pop is a halfling rogue. She was taken away from her parents when she was very young, about 4 years old, and raised as an assassin. The only human interaction she had was with the people she was killing. So she has 0 social skills. All she wants is to settle down with friends and family, because once she killed a family and she thought it was lovely.
The killings?
She was assigned to kill the whole family, and she loved what they had. But
I feel like we should all point out that we weren't laughing at Amelia's character killing a family. We were laughing at Wilbert Fawcett saying, "Can't believe you guys got Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall to guest DM," which is both an incredible slam and an incredible, I guess, misunderstanding of the budget of this channel.
And also, all I'm going to think about now for the next 3 hours. So,
and please do imagine that Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall is here with you, broadcasting live from River Cottage.
I bet the Wi-Fi shit there.
It's terrible, mate. Terrible. Amelia, sorry, do carry on.
That's pretty much it. It's like she just wants to settle down and have a wonderful family existence, but she just happens to be incredibly good at killing people.
Fantastic. And Guy, with yourself now.
Okay. First of all, every time you start a conversation with "Okay, guys, let's talk about this," starting with a name that's not me, it sends me into real cold sweats.
Yeah, being the first one's great.
Yeah, I guess that's my fault for having a really generic name. So Eel is a gnome. Like gnomes are sort of natural tinkerers. They're like playing with things, fixing things, trying to improve things. But gnome, even as a kid, gnomeling. Don't know if that's the word. He was a little bit full on. All he ever wanted to do was become a plumber, but he ended up causing so many problems in his home that his parents binned him off to a monastery, where he sort of took up the monastic teachings and became what is effectively a water bender. I know that's not the term used in D&D, but give him water, he'll do something with it. He's still a plumber, but he doesn't use pipes. He's a sort of happy-go-lucky type, I guess. Firmly believes he's in the right at all times. Just wants to help people out fixing things, and then possibly proselytize about the importance of his monastic order while he's doing it in such a way that it's really awkward, and the person whose pipes he's fixing just can't get away. Nothing to do with my own experience with plumbers.
I was going to say, is this a little related to something that you experienced that you might have talked about on Twitter?
Absolutely not. Apart from completely yes.
If you want to find anything out about that, then Guy is frequently on Twitter, and it is hilarious to follow. Just got a quick shout out from the chat there. What am I drinking? Yeah, it's an excellent question. It's in fact delicious beverage of San Miguel. The taste of Spain in your mouth. So we're going to move over. So persons, see Guy, I listened to it and I'm taking it as a note. I'm going to say persons from now on. So persons, we're going to ask Sibs to step up and talk to us about his character.
So I am playing Toshek. Toshek is a shaman cleric of Semyuanya. I said it right that time. And his god holds survival above all else. Having hunted most of the powerful creatures to extinction in his homeland, he's off on the hunt to find new powerful creatures to consume to fuel his magic. He doesn't really understand the warm bloods and will often sees most of them as food unless they're bigger than him. And warm bloods is everyone that isn't a lizard folk. He is packed full of sneaky little tricks because he is a massive coward and will have to put someone else in harm's way. But he almost always has an idea or a tool for something, whether it works that way or not.
So I should also mention that Sibs was in touch with me before this stream began for about an hour and a half, talking to me about different uses of nets and whether or not it would really sort of min-max the game. So for those of you out there who are D&D players, Sibs is very much going to be the crafty player in the background that's trying to screw with what I make happen. Thank you so much, Sibs. Obviously, it's great to have you aboard. You did. You were a proper gentleman.
I normally do. There are other DMs who will curse me for this action.
We love it here. And guys, thank you once again so much for joining us. Just to let you know, a couple of little house people. You're going to have to catch me on it constantly because it's a thing I say all the time. Some of the sort of things that I just want to mention as well. As a DM, I prefer sort of, or at least I focus a little bit on storytelling, and I really enjoy that aspect of it and the role play. And I know that some of these guys work as performers, as comedians, as theatre makers. So we're rolling into that a little bit. There will be times when I don't pay attention to the rules or I fudge rolls. That's on me, but it's for the benefit of the story. At least that's the hope, anyway. So, okay, that's enough clamoring around.
Did you just give yourself excuses to cheat? Just out and out to everyone there.
Yeah, man, I can cheat as much as I like. So, let's crack open one of these beers. And
I'm a marathon runner. I feel that it's important that sometimes I'll just use a motorcycle. And that's okay.
I need you as a lawyer for me if anything goes wrong. Okay, cool. So before we kick into the game itself, one quick plug. The Waterdeep Mall Rats is live from 4 until 7 with Joe Thorpe as the DM on Sabotage the DM, which is this channel. And it's on Facebook Live and also on Twitch. So please go there, hit the doobly-doo, like and subscribe and all the rest of that jazz. Yeah, I said doobly-doo. I said a YouTube word. Hit the doobly-doo, not the
doobly-doo.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to see more of this from Jon,
it's an adult.
Follow him on Twitter, but he's not on it. So
I'm at Silent John for a reason because I very infrequently tweet.
2014.
So, yeah.
2014.
I very infrequently treat. You must be like your house on Halloween, you poor bastard.
partner has enough troubles. So let's move it forwards. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start Jack's Funhouse. Can I get a whoop whoop?
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, cool. We begin. It has been a long, cold, blustery night. 4 adventurers have set out from a tavern as they came across a flyer for a neighbouring village that was holding a funhouse that evening. Emblazoned across the front was the picture of a smiling clown with children gathered around them, laughing and joking and having a good time, treats held in hand and smiles across their faces. They thought to themselves, we should head there, have some fun. Apart from one particular one, that was Toshik, wasn't it?
Yes.
Why are they going?
So Toshek believes that the stronger a creature is, the more power their flesh will give to his magic. And having heard the number of screams that happen in a funhouse, he figures the funhouse is the strongest thing around, so must kill and slaughter and butcher it. So yeah, has found some willing bait to come with him to slaughter the funhouse, because you can't go hunting without bait.
So, pulling back from the suspicious eyes of Toshek as they're thinking to themselves about attacking the entire and enormous funhouse as one giant monster, our intrepid adventurers set forth. They wander down the path and begin a long trudge to the next town, which is far further than they were ever expecting to go. Day turns slowly into night. The blanket of darkness comes down. The long, winding woods stretch out in front of them, and slowly in the distance they can see a line of lights just flickering out in front of them. As they start to approach, a town comes into view, and you can see balloons floating up into the air. You can see the distant lanterns beginning to rotate and lights sweeping across the horizon. Just before you reach the town, do you say anything to each other?
I told you guys we'd get here. I'm just saying, I did.
Well, yeah, no, I suppose it's fine. It seems like a nice town. Couple of things to do. I'm not too worried about. We'll be all right. We'll at least make a place to sleep for the evening.
Asha's just awestruck by what we know to be balloons and paper lanterns, and she just is. She won't move for a good 30 seconds. She's just standing there, mouth agape, like eyes with a childlike wonder in her eyes.
Toshek is just standing just slightly behind Asha in case anyone starts to throw anything that Asha's in front of her, in front of him. Yeah, like that.
So as our heroes start to head towards the lights themselves, they can hear the sound of the fairground music beginning to drift its way towards them. As they start to enter the first section of the lighting, however, they pass the first lantern and it disappears behind them.
Ah.
With each subsequent lantern that they pass, there's a until all that stands before them is an empty town. Off to the right-hand side, there's a minecart sat kind of rocking, though there's no wind, and a track that seems to lead nowhere. There's an enormous clown's face with the mouth agape. There's the sound of the music playing, and there are a number of automatons scattered around the space, 3 down one side and 3 down the other. You can see in the distance that there's a tavern and there's a hubbub happening inside with the door wide open and a lot of loud voices that are screaming around. You can see that you could interact with the automatons, you can see that you could inspect the place, but what is it you do?
First of all, I'd like to say, these lights shutting off like that, that's perfectly normal. That's probably nothing to worry about. Mechanical failures can come in all sorts of, areas and different things. And so, I think it's probably all right. You know what I mean?
It just seems a shame.
Well, yeah, no, it is. It's faulty wiring, isn't it? So you get the cheap people in.
Toshek is going to reach into his pouch and draw out what looks like a small crocodile's skull, over the hand like that, and as it opens up, it shines light out like a torch.
Nice. Yes, mate.
That's my
props.
that is my everlasting flame cast on my.
Okay. So the beam falls across, and you can see that in the distance, down on either side, 3 each side, there are a number of automatons, and you can read the front of the stalls, and they're advertising different types of foods that you could purchase from them. Each of them has their hands placed out, palm up, as if to be able to receive some coinage.
I walk over to one of the automatons and just like boop it on the nose.
It does. It does nothing.
So I just kind of jump and like boop it.
You go boop. Nothing happens.
I'm disappointed.
Fair.
Can I inspect the signs?
Yeah, certainly. Can you give me
Lord.
Oh yeah, it's the first roll of the session. Here we go.
No.
Can you give me an intimidation roll? No. Can you give me a perception roll, please? Intimidate this entire environment. No, give me a perception roll. Let's see what you can see.
Yep. Any minute. Just any. There he is.
So, for those of you watching at home, you'll find out that this is our first time using Roll20. So we're going to fill certain moments with some Oh my days! That was okay. That is a good roll. That is a 21. So, for a 21,
I see into space.
Yeah.
And through time.
You see the unity and the weave come together, and all of a sudden you can see the entire future of this campaign. You win. Game over.
Well, it's been lovely hanging out with you.
It's so
good. It's been great, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, everyone. Thanks, everyone. No. So, for 21, what you can see is that these automatons are all connected to each other by a wire that runs the length. And you can also tell that imperceivably, there's a juddering and a whirring that's taking place inside them, and it feels like it's some sort of arcane energy, but you can't be sure as to exactly what it is. They're ready and they're waiting for something, and you can feel it in your bones.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to say to the group that the wooden men are wiggling inside, and they want us to do something.
Haven't wiggled.
Wiggling in a good way, in a fresh way,
in a strong way.
I'm going to load my crossbow.
Right.
Well, as an avid tinkerer, I think that Eel would be interested to see how these automata work. Like if they're standing there juddering, there's something that's probably gone wrong with them. So I like to think that I'm sort of like, hang on, give us a second. I'll just peek around the back and have a look. And so I peek around the back and have a look.
Okay, cool. Can you give me a wisdom roll then, please?
Ooh. A wisdom roll. Is that sorry, what flavour dice do I use for that?
So if you click on the word wisdom, it's listed on the left-hand side of your character sheet.
I'm clicking. No, there it is. It's a D20 plus 2. You're a D20 plus 2.
There we go. I gave this one for you.
Oh, all right.
Oh, there we go. Okay, roll the D20. Perfect. We're going to go with yours because, I mean, why would you go with mine? It's a 17 yours. Let's do that. Okay, cool. So, in essence, you can see that the arcane energy which runs these is interlinked, and the actual like cables that connect it together go right the way to the minecart underneath the funhouse. And the surge of power that's rocking back and forth from the minecart, they're all sharing the same circuit.
Yeah, guys, there's something kind of weird about this. Like all these little wooden blokes, like they're all linked up to this track. I'm not sure this is how they normally work. Like it feels that if this was a fun fair, a bunch of juddering wooden dudes wouldn't be that exciting. So maybe something's gone right, but it all sort of comes down to this minecart here that's sitting in front of us.
Toshek is going to I'll cast. Might as well cast it. I'm going to cast Mage Hand. Just simply to the hand will appear and go inside the little hand, the skull of the tiny crocodile that I was previously holding as a light, and is just holding it above me for a minute, and like a homemade torch, whilst I assemble my fishing rod.
You're going to go fishing. Are you doing a whole sort of like side campaign now where you disappear to do some Breath of the Wild style fishing and come back and cook everyone a meal?
Yeah, just fly, fish, and and with once constructed, I'm just going to try and hook that wire with my fishing rod and give it a tug.
Okay, cool. So you see the automaton whir to life for a second, and it goes, and its jaw falls and hits the ground.
I pick it up.
What did you do? Just wind it back in.
I guess you went in, and a jaw comes up on the fishing line, and it's just there. Suddenly, from the tavern just down the road, you see a man hoofed out of the tavern itself, out of the doorway, and land in the mud, and they skid about sort of 7 or 8 foot. And you see a large, surly gentleman come out, and he goes, "What? You fucking better stay away from it. You come back in here and you interrupt the meeting when everything's this serious, you'll have your hide. On your way." And away he goes, thinking to himself how eloquently he put across those lines.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. So, this gentleman picks himself up from the mud, looks around and scampers off into the distance. The tavern door remains open and the hubbub is building inside.
Which of those two gentlemen were taller?
Certainly the tall, burly person who chucked the other into the street. So the person who's gone back inside the tavern.
Okay.
So I don't know about you guys, but that looks super duper enticing, and I think we should go and meet some people. Maybe
I could do with a pint.
Yeah, maybe they can fix the wooden men.
So you guys start to head towards the tavern, pushing open the door that has been pushed closed by the breeze. You find yourself in it's a small town. It's like a Wetherspoons on a Saturday night.
Even.
What, Steve Lords?
I'm in my fucking element.
For those of you who aren't English viewers, Wetherspoons is a delightful pub. Actually, it is. You can get wasabi peas, and you don't get that very many places. So
you can also get actual pea in the corners. It is run by a...
Yeah.
Behind the bar, you can see the surly gentleman who kicked someone out. He's stood there, polishing the glasses, and off in the corner, you can see a blonde-haired, slightly buffoonish-looking bear. Okay, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everybody, shush down, please. And everybody there is kind of shushing because they were kind of already quiet anyway. You can, as you start to look around, you see that everyone's actually quite concerned. There doesn't appear to be a single young person in the place. There's just all of these slightly older, sort of 30 to 40 to 50 sort of aged people. There's not a single young person in here on a Friday night.
Is this called the Brexit Arms? Is there any chance?
It is a
I was going to say
Wetherspoons.
it's just Twitter.
Sorry, that goes back down there. But I'm keeping away from politics for this stream. So, you can start to see that all of the individuals in the place, they're all like quietly murmuring to each other, and you can hear them saying, "But the children, what's happened to the children?" And the mayor at the front of the town goes, "Okay."
Oh no!
I don't know if John is frozen or anyone else or the viewers, but that is.
Oh no! Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can now. You just died and resurrected.
So I left in possibly the perfect freeze frame ever.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So the mayor at the front there, he's like, "Okay, so everybody, if everybody could just calm down for a second or two. So, okay, all the children are gone. The panic stations, ring, 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 ring. Problem, yes, definitely. Can we solve it? Yeah, almost certainly. So what we're going to do is we're just going to employ a load of adventurers, and we'll just sort the thing out. It'll be simple. And a number of people are like, "More children are missing. What are you going to do about that?" Well, yes, no, I appreciate what you're saying there, but we'll hire some adventurers, certainly. What would you guys like to do?
I go up annoyingly close to the mayor, but like I'm like really lightfoot and super small, so like with the intention that he doesn't notice me until I'm right next to him, and I just kind of stand there looking at him.
And he goes, can I help you? Mayor Boris, nice to meet you.
It is so nice to meet you too. My name is Pop, short for Pop Dipperin. And I don't know, you look like you were calling for help or some kind of like friendship or something. And I don't know, I'm just like super keen.
Oh, right. Yes. So all of the children in town, they've gone missing. Everybody's quite stressed. I'm not very good with this myself. I'm not really quite sure. Usually, when things go wrong, I ask someone else, like Dominic Cummings, but this is not a political broadcast. And I speak to him, and I ask him, well, what should I do?
He's not here at the moment. He's not here, is he? He's gone for a very long journey.
He's got to check his eyesight.
He's driven to the neighbouring town 5 towns over. Not political. Hashtag not political. So usually I ask Dominic and he tells me what it is that I should do, but at the moment I'm not entirely sure what it is that I'm supposed to be doing at all. Okay. Yes, I need a friend. What should I do? All of the children in town are missing. It started when Jack arrived.
Just quickly clear something up for me. Are we happy or sad that all the children are gone? This is good or bad?
Okay. If you look around at all of my constituents,
yes.
What do you see? Can you give me a perception?
A perception check.
Yep.
Thank Christ, my garbage.
Does that come through?
Oh wow, it's an 8. I think you just see some slightly happy people. Don't you?
I'm just like, yeah, I mean it's a room full of people, isn't it?
From the doorway, can someone else roll a perception? I'm stood in the doorway with a crossbow in my hand, not moving to this room.
Yeah, definitely roll a perception. Go for it.
Okay.
That is a 13.
13. Not that great. With a +5, that's garbage, but fine.
That is garbage, but we'll take it. So with a 13, what you can see is you look around and you realise that everyone in this room, they all look like their parents. They're all there in their leisure wear, having come from whatever local millery or wherever it is that they work. And they're all, yeah. They've all just
I was going to say Pilates.
And a number of them have in their hand crudely drawn images of their children, and they're asking each other what it is that's taken place.
Okay. I'm not relaying any other information, and I will stand at the door with my crossbow. Slightly lowered because I don't consider them a threat.
Great.
Asha is standing sort of in the forecourt because the door was a little bit narrow and she didn't want to make a mess, and she's just going to shout, "Who's Jack?"
The entire room goes silent. And then there's this kind of cacophonous thing where everyone pushes towards all of you guys, and they're like, "Jack, the Funhouse arrived, and then since then we've never been, and all of our children are trapped inside. Are you adventurous? Can you help us?"
I'm popular.
Yes, you are popular. So they're clamoring for your attention. As the mayor tries to calm everyone down, each of them relay their stories to you. In essence, what you learn is the following. The night previous, Jack came into town. He's visited this town and towns around the area, and all around the Sword Coast, I suppose, constantly for the last 10 years or so. The arrival of Happy Jack's Funhouse is seen as a point of celebration in towns that don't get anywhere near enough entertainment. And to have Jack arrive, he wandered, as he always does, up the short path that you came, right to the centre of the village, just him and his horse and his little bag of Funhouse. We lay it down on the track.
I'm really
Little
sad
bag
he's not
of
called
Funhouse.
Pat Sharp.
So he laid down his bag, opening it out. For the first time, he turned to the mayor and he said, so I was trying to think about what Jack sounds like for a second.
Pat Sharp.
Really Welsh. Just really fucking
I
Welsh.
can't do a web
See,
as you
tiger.
will discover on here. I can't hold an accent for very long at all. I start doing anything, and it eventually veers into Irish, but round every other type of accent.
Well, perfect. That Irish. Your classic Jack of the criminal circus.
So Jack nods to the mayor nods to Jack.
You cowards.
You'll see him like this. Nods to the mayor nods to Jack. Jack throws open the bag, and from inside this tiny bag, up into the air, all of the fireworks, the displays, flying around in the air and settling down to unveil the Funhouse itself, an enormous fountain, erects, and from that a giant tongue comes out, and down the tongue slips a small pouch, which lands in a set of traps that seem to lead nowhere. All of the children in the area start to clap and applaud, and there's smiles on the adults' faces that haven't been there for some time. Can you guys see it clearly?
Not very well.
Not
Flippy.
very well. Okay, bit flippy. Okay. We'll carry on trying my headset. If that doesn't work, I'll switch over. Am I clearer now?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Unveiling the bag, producing the funhouse, the tongue unravels, and from there comes a minecart, which lands on a small section of tracks that seem to lead nowhere. The children begin to applaud, and the adults put a smile on their face for the first time in some time. Everyone bundles towards the actual the minecart itself, and stepping in, it takes off into the air and flies and does a loop-the-loop, and then lands in the clown's mouth, and you're a as the children all disappear inside the funhouse. Pub, and everybody in the place is in tears. They haven't seen their children since, and no one's seen Jack either. If adults try to enter, they're pushed away. Most of them, those that did go in, didn't seem to come out. So no one's tried going in since then. They need some adventurers to try and get in there. We need some adventurers to try and go in and just try and get the children, bring the children, bring them back to me and to the parents.
Well, yeah, to be honest, this seems like a classic Pied Piper situation, and as a plumber by trades, I think I could potentially be here to sort your pipes out. So, with obviously a bit of an upfront fee and then the rest of it paid off later.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And he grabs hold of your hand and raises it in the air and he goes, our first adventurer! And then leans into you and goes, rates will be negotiated shortly. Do you have a card?
No, but I've got a very strong hand.
And he looks at his hand, and there imprinted is your name. Right, our first adventurer. Would anybody else be able to assist us?
I've been standing next to you this whole time. I mean, I just don't.
Yes. I suppose you'll be willing to go in then, of course, as we're now friends. Yes.
Yes. Oh my god. It's so nice.
Yeah, that's great. I love making new friends. So perfect. Okay, these two brave adventurers will now head towards the funhouse. Everybody give them a round of applause, and everybody goes, oh, thank goodness, our children hopefully will be safe. They look clever and brave, in particular that plumber. And that roguey-looking person, I couldn't remember your race for a second. What are you playing again?
Halfling.
Halfling, there we go.
Short.
I couldn't remember your race for a second. The
A vertically challenged individual looks like they're very savvy. And they start to push you guys out of the pub. Those of you who remain, would you like to do anything?
Oh, I'll go. I mean, if they've been in there for 24 hours, it must be really great.
A few people come and they're like, oh, yeah, go on then. Yeah, go.
And How tall is Jack?
Who do you ask this to?
Just all of the humans look the same.
The mayor asks that question on your behalf, and he goes, "Well, he's basically he comes out to about here on me, but then when he's talking to my tall friend over there, and you look across, there's like an 8-foot person. It's like he comes up to about here on him, so it's pretty variable, really, pretty variable. Yeah.
I'll throw a look at Asha and then nod and follow them out.
Okay, right. So you all exit the tavern together, and looking down the street at lights are all of a sudden present once again, all in a straight line off into the distance, and you can hear and as that music starts to continue, you see the lights go. And an old lady begins to push and struggle and cut through the sodden earth to just outside the funhouse where sits a minecart. She begins to turn a little handle on the side, and a little monkey on top stands up and puts on a fez, begins to bash its cymbals together, and as you get closer and closer, you start to realize that there's something a little strange about this woman, and there's something a little strange about the monkey as well. They're kind of decaying. They're not looking particularly great. And as you guys, as you guys start to move down past the automatons, you see that actually their heads are turning to follow you as you go. She begins to turn the handle, and there's an unbridled laugh that she's got.
The most terrifying thing about all of this, John, is that that's just your laugh.
It's not just my laugh, it's an accentuation of my laugh.
Sure. Okay, sorry. Do apologise.
That is.
Now, Puck turns to everybody and goes, "Okay, so I know that I'm not that worldly, but I know a dead person when I see one, and I'm pretty sure that that woman and that monkey are dead."
Well, but dead things don't move around, so they can't be.
You know what, Asha? You must be right.
We high five.
Yeah.
I crush you into the ground.
I take 4 steps backwards and shake my hand off a bit, and I'm kind of I'm excited because I think that's what friendship is.
Yeah, I think it went really well.
As a dude who's quite into how automata works and the intricacies of things, can I do an insight? Is an insight check a reasonable thing to look at this and be like, how is this, or is that me effectively topping from the bottom?
I'm a big fan of that on this channel, don't worry. That's absolutely fine. Oh, I believe Fergus Waldron just joined us as well in the chat. Everyone, say a quick hello.
Hey.
Good to see you, Ferg. Thanks for coming aboard.
Again.
Fergus actually played through this game in the past, so I think he's coming back to see exactly what takes place and where he did things right that you're probably going to do them wrong. Sorry, don't mean to bait you there.
No, I'll take that. I'm a living failure. Just ask my mum. That's fine.
So, give me a perception roll, and I will tell you what it is that you can see.
Where's my? Oh no! I've realised I don't know what any of the buttons work.
Give me a roll of a d20.
Okay, I can do that. D20, where are you? Hello, lad.
And it's a 5. You can tell that they
Sweet.
are automatons.
Yeah, it looks like those guys are little wooden robots. That's weird, isn't it?
I kind of look at Eel for a second and choose to ignore that, and then I walk right up, eating the monkey, and I address the monkey and I go, "Hi, I'm Pop."
And the monkey goes,
It's Pop Pipperidge.
and then it kind of stares at you and goes, and runs towards you and goes up and around the back of your head and starts to pull on your hair.
Oh no.
Right. I stab it.
Yeah. Roll initiative. No, we're not going to start our first fight with a monkey. Can you give me a strength saving throw, please?
A what?
Just a strength throw. Just give me a. If you click on your character sheet.
For shizzle. No, wait, I'm a halfling. I can't do nat one.
Are you a lucky?
Oh, hold on. Sorry, are you saying that your character has the ability to not roll a nat one?
Yeah, I have.
What?
I'm a very naturally lucky person. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, you're using your lucky. Okay, so yeah, this is a part of your character's skill set, which means that if you get a nat one, you can choose to ignore it, can't you?
Roll it again.
Exactly it.
Brilliant. Give us a roll of a d20. I'm hoping it's gonna be a nat one. Not far off, it's a 3. You pull at the monkey and it claws back even stronger, and you can now feel that it's starting to sort of scratch your head, and it's a bit wet and damp where it's standing.
Oh no! Asha's going to take a swipe at it.
Take a swipe.
I'm...
Okay. So I think there's a degree of kind of like fighting of monkey that starts to take place, and then turns to the rest of you that are not dealing with that and goes towards the mine cart.
I mean, I've cast Toll the Dead on that monkey.
Great.
it's in the D20 in the roll 20. Wisdom saving throw, and the DC is 13 of that monkey.
Oh, okay. Wisdom saving throw for the monkey. Hold on. I didn't realize you were going to start fighting it quite like you are.
From a distance.
Not good.
That does not look like a. That's a D8 damage to the monkey. Necrotic, if that makes any difference.
I think because it's dead, it might not deal with necrotic too well. But yeah, that's fine. Go for it. Okay, so that's a D8. I mean, you floor that monkey. It is no problem.
Oh. But what I do is I take out a tiny little, like, what looks like clearly some kind of bone of an animal, and it makes the most pathetic little tinkle noise, like, but the monkey just head explodes.
And there's just blood everywhere. It's like someone squeezed a ketchup too hard. And
Matthew Corbett's gore-covered fingers.
So the monkey's limp body falls to the ground, and Reva just beckons over towards the cart. The cart bobs merrily back and forth. The townspeople start to slowly push you towards the cart to get in. And those of you that are starting to sort of slow down or take a bit of distance, you can see that some tentacles start to come out from the cart.
I'm going. Will we all fit?
So it'll take, I think, you guys in 2 separate parties. So 2 of you can go, and then another 2 of you can go.
I'm going to get in the front cart, but I'm going to hold hands with Pop.
That implies that either the minecart has 2 tiny seats at the front and 2 massive seats at the back, or like 1 tiny seat, 1 massive seat, 1 tiny seat, 1 massive seat.
I'm happy to sit on Ash's shoulders. I would fit.
You can sit on my lap.
Yes, I am covered in monkey blood.
Can we do it sitting on each other's lap? Like the 2 little dudes on the 2 big guys? It just seems economical. I wouldn't want to run this spooky graveyard roller coaster more than once. Let's sit on each other's laps.
Great. Okay, we're in the front car.
I'm already on Ash's lap. So
I'm going to wrap my arms around you like a seatbelt.
Okay, so the 4 of you bundle in, 2 at the base and 2 standing on each other's shoulders, and you feel a kind of lurch from the car as it starts to go. And you pull off into the air at the end of the track, and it begins a loop-de-loop, and you suddenly realise that this was a terrible idea. What the hell were you thinking? You know when have you guys ever fallen down a hill that you've been running down?
Oh yeah.
You just see the horizon just goes like, and you have no idea what it's that, and then it goes black.
In my absolute terror at this point, Toshak's frills come out, and he just starts going, and spittle and saliva and general stuff just cover the other three.
That is exactly what the situation needs. Further throat-based lubrication.
And at that point, that's actually casting Aid, second level spell. The other three creatures as I cover them in saliva. Your spell bolsters your allies with toughness and resolve. Choose up to 3 creatures within range. Each target hit point max and current hit point increases by 5 for the next 8 hours.
Oh.
Yes, May. Okay, so guys, make a note of that and remember to have that to hand when you get into those situations.
Spit on me, Daddy.
Max hit points goes up 5, and you have 5.
Okay, so Sibs, we just a quick reminder. Obviously, you're burning through quite a few spells here. Just, I love how you're protecting your party, but I'm just it's a careful DM. I'm going to remind you to be careful.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, great. So you guys, spinning through the air, you sort of funnel your way into the darkness, and then suddenly find that you have arrived to the entrance of Jack's Funhouse. The minecart pulls to a stop, and you guys pour out from either side. I'm going to ask for a Constitution saving throw. Constitution saving throw from you, please.
Uh-oh.
So if you click your character sheets and then go to, you'll see there's a saving throw section on your left-hand side, the second column along. If you click the word Constitution, you'll be able to do a roll. That's from...
That's a 13 from Eel.
13. Okay, cool. Actually, I think that might be a 12 from yourself, Eel. Just because we're rolling with advantage, so we roll 2 dice simultaneously. It's usually the one on the left-hand side that's the first one rolled, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know.
And then so Pop, Asha, Eel. Toshik, we don't have one from yourself yet.
Oh no, it rolled under my other one. It was a 7.
Okay.
Sorry, it was 7.
7. So everybody, apart from Toshik, they feel absolutely fine after the minecart. It was actually quite a fun ride for you guys. However, Toshik, you feel like you're going to basically be dizzy and sick and nauseous for the next 5 minutes. You do definitely vomit in the corner, and it probably dents your pride ever so slightly. So you guys, pulling yourselves together, you look around the room, and what you can see are a combination of red ropes that sort of form a queue, as if people were queuing up to be able to enter the funhouse itself, though there's obviously no one about at the moment. Off to the centre of the room, you can see that there's a large crate, which is polka dot, and just sort of sits quietly in the centre of the room. Off to the right-hand side, you can see that there's a series of tables with some printed material and leaflets on them. They kind of line the walls. You've got a number of different doors available to you. Up front, just past the crate to the north of the room, you can see a double set of doors, and above it says, "Welcome to Happy Jack's Funhouse." On either side, there are 2 other doors that say "Staff Only," and then off to the right-hand side, a door that simply reads, "Employees Only." What would you guys like to do?
Can I look around the room and see if there's any thieves' cant written anywhere?
Any thieves' cant written anywhere?
Yes. So thieves' cant is like it's a
language, isn't it, for communicating with each other?
Secret dialect for like criminals, basically.
Nice. It's the Dark Souls kind of writing on the wall, being able to give each other a hand for those who have gone before and past. So you do see there's just one thing which is scrawled on the ground, and it simply reads, "So much fun."
I relay this to the group. And I go, so much fun!
Can I just double check that there's a staff only and employees only? There's two different
Yes,
doors,
correct.
is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are two doors next to the two double doors, next to the sort of joint double doors, and then off to the actually east of the room, you can see another door, which is which is the one that reads staff only above it. If you guys aren't already looking at Roll20, it's all laid out there for you. What would you like to do?
So guys, I'm quite intrigued by this giant polka dot box. Should we take a distance and maybe open it, prepared for whatever might come out? I don't know, just my idea. I'm open to anything.
I'm currently scooping up my vomit into a little pouch because it might be useful for later.
Ever resourceful.
I can shoot it from a distance. I don't know how much good that would do, or we can just open it and see what happens. I mean, I'm kind of keen to open it. It's a polka dot box.
we could just smash it open.
Yeah, smash it. Oh my God, Asha, you're so freaking cool. Let's smash it.
I'll smash it. Okay, cool. We can do it. Okay, great.
Okay, I still.
Okay, so you guys are going to smash it open? Okay, great.
I'm in stealth, just so you know. I've stealthed behind Asha.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Who's going to take the strike?
I'll smash it.
Okay, well then give that thing a smash. Okay, give me an attack roll. Oh, look at that. Strength.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
that was a strength save.
my bad.
Get strength from you, that'd be great.
I find it. This is where I find it.
Do, 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 do.
We'll get
The
there.
silence of Roll20.
That is an 18. So, what weapon were you using?
Just I was going to do two-handed battle axe.
Two-handed battle axe. So, tell me about how you smash this thing to pieces.
Cool. So I'm still psyched from my awesome minecart ride. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. So I'm just absolutely buzzing on adrenaline, and I'm gonna tweak it off my back and then raise it up and just slam that bad boy.
It literally explodes into smithereens. And from the kind of like the remnants of the wood chips themselves, you suddenly realize that there's an enormous hippo in it. This thing is massive. And does anyone? It's got a sort of name tag hanging around its neck, but you can't be exactly sure what it says at this sort of a distance, and it just goes. What would you like to do?
I didn't hit it, did I?
You didn't hit it. You just smashed the box to smithereens.
Great.
It's just fully sat there, staring around, looking at you guys.
I'm going to raise my crossbow. I've got very limited ways of dealing with situations.
It stares at you, and there's a kind of like an uncomprehending, unknowing trust, and it's staring at the end of the sort of like the crossbow that you're holding up.
I might wander over. Like, my animal handling isn't great. I've lived a very sheltered life. Every time I see a bird is a high point for that day. And so for this guy, it's a real hoot. But I think it's worth wandering over and being like, all right, how are you doing? And gently placing a hand on its side.
Perfect. Can you give me an animal handling check? So if you go to your sheet and then you click on, I'm just having a quick look at yours now. So if you look in the second column on the left-hand side of the sheet, you will see that there is a section right at the top, second one down, that says animal handling and your skills.
I think I've done that. One is, do you want the one that's grayed out or the one that's in bold?
So the one that's in bold, please.
That's an 8.
An 8. Okay, so you see that the hippo kind of looks across to you for a second or two, and its big shining eyes start to fill with water because it's being touched for the first time in such a long time. And then it clamps down on your hand very, very hard. And you can feel that it's drawing a tiny bit of blood. And all of a sudden, there's this rush of adrenaline that goes into your body. And you start to feel incredibly prickly on your back. And they, just as they let go of you, you can see that on the name tag it reads the word Bubby.
Right, lads. I would say probably best not to touch this big grey boy. It gave me
shoot it?
No. Now, given that I gave it a gentle pat, and then it put the chew on me, I'd be very wary about leasing off weapons on it, because God knows what it'll do.
As you say this, a bolt flies across the room. Is this correct, or have you kept it sort of niche?
No, I'm letting go of that. I'm shooting that bolt.
Okay, so that bolt flies across the room. Can you give me an attack roll, please?
Sure.
Just for your benefit as well, if you look at Roll20, here's what Bubby looks like.
I'm aiming.
Beautiful.
I'm aiming for the eye.
While this roll is happening, can I use deflect missiles, which is a monk skill? Although my hand is a little bit chewed, if it's possible for me to deflect or catch the missile, I blast off my tits.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so what sort of roll do you need to give for that then? It's if you click on it as an item in your
yeah, when you damage 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level.
Quick maths.
Yeah.
If you click on the actual word that describes it, it should give you a roll.
This music is so horrid.
Ooh, it's one from my own personal archives. Oh, okay. Oh, that was a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah. Hang on. So that's deflect missiles 21. The attack you do, damage you take from the attack is reduced by 10d1 plus your. Oh no, that's your dex modifier. Sorry, not a dex save. 1d10. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this weird object.
Part of the fun of this as a show is the fact that we are trying to sort of learn a little bit as we go along. Like, I am nowhere near a Roll20 expert, as you guys can probably tell.
Beans. So that's 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's
plus your monk level, which is 3. So that's 8.
8. Okay, so they aren't able to step in front of it and sort of. So that just to check, that was the roll, not damage, that you received after having successfully done it.
Yeah, that was me just trying to slap it out of me.
Okay, perfect. In which case, your slap goes wide and the crossbow lands in Bubby, and Bubby roars into the sky, and the sign falls from their mouth, and you can see them suddenly start to cower in the corner of their crate.
I'm going to draw a skinning knife.
So I'm going to just say that every time I've run this module with other people, they've become very good friends with Bubby, and not try to skin them alive.
No. Hang on. I can see that you took a sort of animus towards this big lads, on account of it being enormous and this being a largely spooky place to be. But you tried to murder it once. You need to try and murder it twice. It seems like, as something that you've already tried to murder, it seems quite all right about it. I'm not sure this might be the way.
I don't think you know how murder works.
Is that what your character says?
Yeah, that's what my character says. I don't think it, but I will put away my skinning knife.
Oh, look at that. That's the first point of attrition there from your character. There's some team building going on here, guys. Some team building. I love it.
No,
So-
that's fair. I don't really know what murder is. I just it seemed the thing to say.
Can I just like suddenly appear like behind Bubby, like just like right there?
Okay, great. So, do you want to move your token on the map?
Oh yeah, let's terrify a hippo that's been. This can't end badly for my face and bones.
Can I exit Bubby, the picture of Bubby?
So, do you want to move your token across and put them just behind Bobby?
Sorry, I'm working on that. Getting there. Getting there. Okay, wait.
And the drum roll, please. Hey! You walk around to the side of Bubby. Is this for reassurance?
And I just go, hello!
And Bubby looks up at you with their big doughy eyes that are slightly teary, and you can see where the crossbow bolt has landed. And they look down at the crossbow bolt, and then they look back up at you.
John, I hate this.
And I go, do you want me to take that out? Does that hurt?
And Bubby goes, Bubby, Bubby, Bubby. And Noel Edmonds pops up. No.
I was going to say, is Bubby a Pokemon? Like it can only say its name?
Awesome.
Yes. Now it is. Bubby goes, Bubby, 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 Bubby. Look at that. That was pure acting. That was communicating the emotional depth of a character through a single word. Thank you for joining us.
I yank out the crossbow and I throw it back to Toshak.
I'm imagining Toshak's just going to clutch that out of the air and place it back in there. Yeah.
No, I'm going to take it, lick it. Can I roll a perception on the flavour?
Yes, you certainly can. Actually, yeah. Give me a perception check.
The 15.
That's a 15. So you can tell that this is. You've actually come across something along these sorts of lines before. This is a were-hippo. Can you give me a history roll and tell me what you know about were-hippos?
Yeah, I can do a history roll actually. He says, "No, I can't. It's only an 8."
It's an 8. You remember that they are half were and half of the creature.
Yeah.
Um,
This is not a real hippo.
Is this information that's useful to share? Because I've got like big boy knowledge on history.
I will say out loud that it's not a real hippo.
Do you want to make a big roll on history for us?
Well, so
Do it, mate.
like, if it's not a hippo, because it looks like a hippo, it quacks like a hippo.
Were hippo. Tastes like a were hippo.
What? It's here hippo.
Where?
Like
It's
it's
right
right here. Yeah.
No, there hippo. Were hippo?
Over there, hippo. Where? There on the stair.
No,
Where?
that hippo.
A little hippo with clogs on.
Okay, give us a history roll.
A history roll. Let's see if I can actually use this.
Nice.
Okay, so you have rolled a 14. What you remember is that anything that's bitten by a were creature becomes infected
Uh-oh.
by them and themselves risk turning into such a thing. You realize that they have bitten you, and you now stand the risk of turning into such a thing. We'll come back to it later. Don't panic too much. I'm sure you'll be fine.
No, it's all right, folks. So what's happened here is this is a were hippo, meaning that either it was something that was bitten by a hippo, or a hippo that was bitten by a something. And so, as I'm not a hippo, and I've been bitten by it, either I'm going to turn maybe later into a something or another something. So
Can I just walk up
fine.
and lick his face, please?
Whose face here?
No, not the hippo's face. I'm licking Eel's face.
Not hippo's face. That would be ridiculous.
I'm just gonna walk up quite calmly, non-aggressively, just go up and lick his face.
Yeah,
My long lizard tongue.
that seems extraordinarily forward. I'll give you one for free because it's important to have learning moments about what is and isn't appropriate. But I'd say maybe next time ask for consent and if it's all right for you to do that, because that's just how people feel comfortable.
I'll give it a nod. Consent is important, and I'll give you another lick, assuming that was consent.
All right, that's quite charming.
I think Wilberforce in the chat there's pointing out that they love both the fact that there's so much consent is taking place here, and also that was such a tender romantic gesture.
Yeah.
Can I tell if he tastes like where yet?
He definitely, there's like an undertaste. It's like an amuse bouche of where.
An umami.
An umami of where.
Where mummy.
Whilst
and where. It wasn't worth me continuing for that, but I did it anyway.
And we're proud of you. So the Bubby's taken this opportunity to curl up into a little hippo ball, and they've slowly started leaning against Pop. But they're incredibly, how like dogs lean against you. Some dogs are lean dogs. Some dogs they run around and they sort of like come close to you. This is a lean dog, and they lean right up against you, and they're incredibly heavy, almost to the point that they're starting to crush your foot. But you want to be nice.
I go, Bubby, you're leaning on me. It's
Bubby
not
goes,
nice.
and then closes their eyes and curls into a little ball and goes to sleep. Looking around the rest of the room, you guys have some doors available to you. You've got the two doors to the north, which are the entrance to Happy Jack's Funhouse. Either side of those, you've got single individual doors, which are staff only, and off to the right-hand side, because I forgot that I'd already said it before, you've got an employees-only door. Which one would you like to go through? Oh, there's also pamphlets on the tables if you want to interact with any of this.
Ooh.
I love a pamphlet.
I do love a pamphlet. I would like to go and have a look.
Great. Okay, so you guys, if you can move your... look at this! The tokens, they move. So you guys step across and you have a look at the pamphlets. And they have the following on them. You can see that there's a number of attractions listed inside the funhouse. There's one that says, Ashy, survivor and tracker supreme. Biggs, no fish can outswim his cast. Nova, magician extraordinaire. Lucy, the world's best baker. Merivinia, classiest and sassiest. Fallon, an explosion of fun. Exolier, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Exolier, she will take your voice away. And Windrig, no truants on his watch. Now, will there be consistency to those voices? No, there will not. But those are the attractions that it lists inside the funhouse, along with many deadly others. That is the brief on the pamphlet. The doors sit around the room still. What will you do?
I want to go into the funhouse.
Yeah, me too. I just took 10 minutes to read that out loud, so I'm going in.
Okay, so if you guys can step your way across to the double doors, let's see what it is that you can see.
Is that the only door in the room, did you say?
It's the double doors up to the north of the room, if you'd like to head in that direction.
What's the difference between orange and blue?
Never
Not
say that
generally.
in Northern Ireland.
Not generally.
So if you guys cross the threshold, the lighting will start to fill in for you.
I think those are just different coloured lamps around the room, aren't they, John? The orange and blue.
I believe they are. I think that's
Got
how
it. Thanks, mate.
It's dynamic lighting.
I know what a lamp is. Got this.
I know what a lamp looks like.
I'm the last person in the room.
Okay, so stepping through, you guys can see that there is a sort of emblazoned motto on the wall which says "Happy Jack loves you," and there's images of lots of screaming and laughing demons. As you start, you start to step. You can hear the unwailing sort of. Oh, I'll hold on. Careful now, everyone's shimmying forwards quite a bit here. So I'm going to ask who's up front? Who's gone first? Who was the bravest to us? It was Pop, wasn't it? It's always Pop.
Yes.
Pop's
Bearing in mind I'm in stealth.
You might be in stealth, Pop, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to set off certain traps. So can you give me a dexterity check, please? Oh, sorry, that's yeah. Oh, sorry. Actually, no. Give me a perception check. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, and you've rolled an 18. I'm going to say, I'm going to go with your first roll on that one. So I'm going to say that you saw the trap before you stepped over it, and you've got some thief's tools, haven't you?
Yes, I do.
Great. Give me a dexterity check, and we'll see if you manage to disarm it.
Squadoosh.
Yes, mate. Not only do you do it with grace. Tell me how you did it.
I saw it, immediately recognized that it was a trap, and kind of like absent-mindedly, like flip knife, like cut the trap, and then just carried on walking.
Wicked. Okay, cool. So it literally disintegrates, and you know that there is no trap that is going to threaten you for at least a few more paces.
Or at least 1 4 foot.
Or at least 4 or 5 foot. Great. So you guys see that the passageway sneaks around the corner. You can now see that there's a lot of like in the emblazoned kind of mottos, and I'm trying to think what's the word when people have done like they've done a spray paint or a painting, and it's like a montage-y kind of thing.
Mural?
Mural!
Fresco.
Say fresco. All right.
Sorry. Fresco.
Isn't fresco like a district
Fresco.
of San Francisco?
I think they're different. I don't know, but I think they're different. It doesn't matter.
Okay, we're going to be taking a break shortly, and Sibs, I'm going to need you to go away and look up what is the difference between a fresco and a mural, please, because I think everybody.
I'll ask.
They're
I'm
going to
not
be
looking up anything.
Before we do, though, I'm going to say, are you guys stepping around the corner? You can see that it bends off to the right-hand side.
Right.
Yeah, I'm happy yeeting myself around a corner.
You guys continue to yeet yourselves around, and Pip, you're still up front, are you? Oh, sorry, Pop.
Yeah.
Okay, Pop, can you give me another perception check, please?
Oh, golly gee.
What? You put
Myself-
yourself up front?
All of you. No, you're right.
Oh, it's an 8.
Oh.
I need a wisdom saving throw from you, please. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's do that actually. Yeah, let's do a wisdom saving throw.
Gosh, I'm so unwise.
Oh man, that's pretty unwise.
All right, Socrates.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't see this one, and the trap does set off. And I'm going to give myself a quick 1d4 roll. And okay, you're going to suffer a confusion for the next minute or so. So you're not going to know exactly what it is that's going on, and no one's really going to be able to help you. Like you're going to need assistance from the team. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Great.
Who's going to take the? Sorry, go on.
I just kind of decide to sit down cross-legged.
Okay, amazing. So you sit down cross-legged on the floor, and someone's going to need to step up here, guys. Someone's going to need to start leading the party.
Oh, I'm just going to sit down cross-legged behind her. I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting for fun.
I'll see what's happening. I can do that. I don't mind. It's the same as always. I think see what's happening.
Come on then, Eel. Take the lead.
I'm just going to lean over and give Eel another lick, but this time casting guidance on him.
Okay,
so
great.
Yeah, an extra D4 to an ability check of your choice for the next minute.
Yeah, you know what? Initially, I thought that was quite an unusual thing to do to someone that you weren't entirely au fait with. But the more it happens, the more I feel quite drawn to it. Like I don't mind you doing that, which surprises me because earlier I found it quite unusual.
Deadpan eyes look back at you. Absolutely no change.
Yep. All right. Fair enough then.
Amazing. So you step yourself to the front of the party. Can you move the token, please?
Where do I like what?
So just in front of where Pop is currently.
Hang on, where's Pop? Oh, there's Pop. Oh, can I see that?
Okay, so you have a corridor that leans around to the right-hand side. Dare you move forwards?
I think I dare.
You dare. Go on then. Go on,
Yeah.
see what's on the corner. See what's on the corner. Go on then. Go on then.
Let's have a little peek.
So, as you step your way around the corner, you begin to see that off to your left-hand side, there's a slight crumbling wall. There's a brick missing at the bottom, and something glints inside. Off to the right-hand side, there's another similarly tumble-down wall, and it looks a little weak, but otherwise fine. And in front of you, there's a pit with 2 ladders sat vacant for a moment until you step across in front of them, and all of a sudden, the ladders begin to shift back and forth, up and down in a quite erratic sense in front of the pit. And you hear a low rumbling noise coming from either side of you and the crumbling walls. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we're going to take a break. Go and grab a drink, go find your favourite beverage, your favourite person to hug, to hold, and we're going to come right back in the next 5 minutes. So at about 8:30. Guys, it's been a real pleasure so far. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in 5 minutes. But before we go, let me just remember to ask you to tune in to see Waterdeep Mall Rats, which is running from 4 until 7 on Mondays and is amazing and run by DM Joe Thorpe. Guys, we'll be back with you in 5 minutes. Thank you.